All right, let's party. Welcome to another edition of the New Breed Podcast, the world's best podcast, talking about new metal, which is not just a musical genre. It's an entire way of life. I'm one half of your hosting duo, Jay Horskow. With me, I have my partner in crime, the notorious TAM, Tim Anderson Jr. Tim, how are you doing this overheated Saturday?
I'm great.
Yeah, you're wearing a hoodie. You're making me warm just looking at you.
Dude, my house is freezing.
Always wearing a hoodie.
He is always wearing a hoodie.
I've never seen his arms.
It's because they don't exist. He's like, what's his name from Blacklisted? George, who only wore long sleeve t-shirts. And that third voice you hear is our frequent collaborator, Mr. Adam Easterling. Adam, once again, thank you for joining us.
Hey, very excited to be back for the. I don't know how many times this is now, but
this is the 6th.
Am I the leaderboard?
Oh, by far.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, by far.
Yeah. Should just put your podcast in my bio at this point.
Right. Yeah, Adam Easterling, irregular, regular. Like that'll work. That'll work.
Don't call him a celebrity, Jay.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say it. So, funnily enough, the topic of this episode and the impetus for this recording actually did come from Adam. So, most of you may be well aware that this coming up this year is the 4th anniversary of Chester Bennington from Linkin Park's passing. So, is it 5th?
I think it's 5th.
5th, man. Oh, it feels like just yesterday.
It's
So.
2016.
As a result of this, we wanted to do something where we talked about Linkin Park, but do something a little bit different, not just a deep dive or whatever. So we came up with the idea of we are going to do a Linkin Park song draft. So here's how we're going to play it. Between Adam, Tim, and myself, we are each going to get 10 picks to build what we think is the best Linkin Park playlist. Once these playlist picks are done, I'm going to create them on Spotify. We'll put links out there in the show notes and in YouTube. And we would ask everyone to send us some feedback as to which one of us was picking the best playlist. So this should be fun because we're going to talk a little bit about the albums. We're going to talk about the songs themselves. And then we get to basically go head to head with each other on who we think is what songs we think are the best.
I can't wait to tell everybody that I'm right when they
I'm not going to talk about how often I go back and listen to System of a Down because I don't want to give you an ego.
Oh, really?
We're going to start with the rules, right? So this is your typical snake draft. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, then 3, 2, 1. To start off, let's do draft order. So Tim, pick a number between 1 and 6.
6.
Okay. And Adam?
I was going to pick 6. Fucking 3.
Adam picks 3. I'm going to pick 1. And the random roll comes up with
7.
3. So Adam goes first, Tim goes second, and then I'm batting cleanup. So Adam.
Damn. I didn't think I was going to get the first picks, and I actually have to choose between 2 songs.
All right.
Don't you pick my song, God damn it.
Oh, I don't think I'm gonna. I think you guys are gonna be a little surprised, but I have my reasons.
Well, and for listeners, we have been talking trash with each other in the month leading up to this episode. There's been a lot of conversation around. You could tell in our group chat that people have actually been reluctant to talk about what their favorite songs were because we don't want to give away our game plan. So it's gonna be a fun one. So before we start the picking process, right? Let's take a second. We don't need to do the full dive into all the details, but Adam, I want to start with you because you had an interesting story. So you said this is one of the first heavier bands that you actually owned the CD and came across. Is that correct?
Yeah. And also, real quick, unrelated, but you were right. It was 2017, so this is 4 years.
Oh, it's just either way, it feels like yesterday.
Yeah,
right.
But
so
yeah,
this is one of the first bands that you found. New metal, non-new metal. At that point, it wasn't even a question. This is just one of the first heavier bands that you first got into.
Yeah, I mean, I've told this. I mean, literally, if you search my name in a podcast, I've probably told the story on almost every one of them. It may have even happened on New Breed. Probably happened on L Street. Regardless, So my very first recollection of Linkin Park was, I'm pretty sure I heard In the End on the radio, but didn't really think much about it because I was 7. But my neighbor, literally, I lived on this plot of land. There was a big field, cornfield between us. And my dad used to take his tractor, his John Deere lawnmower, and mow a path for us to like hang out. My neighbor would come over, and he was like into skateboarding and all this different stuff that I was starting to get into because of Tony Hawk and all that. And we were going to go to Six Flags with my mom one day. And we get in the car. We haven't even left the driveway. And my mom was like, what do you boys want to listen to? Which is a brave question. And he hands her Hybrid Theory, puts it in, paper cut starts, gets, I think you hear Mike Shinoda for 15 seconds. And then my mom goes, this sounds like prison music, and then turns it off. And I was like, yeah, it does. And I want to fucking hear more of that. So, you know, growing up the way that I did, my parents, you know, my whole family was very Southern Baptist. So for the longest time, my mom had to review and like read the lyrics of whatever I was going to buy before I bought it. And Hybrid Theory passed the test. And so I remember buying Hybrid Theory was the first heavy album that I bought with my own money. And I learned it. I used to play it so much that my mom at points would be like, all right, can we like turn Linkin Park off for the day? And especially once I got Meteora and Reanimation, I used to have like the Nerf like door mounted basketball goals. And I would just I'd go ham on that thing, just playing Linkin Park record after record after record, just losing it in my rec room, listening to it all day. And so this band is like, you know, I've been on here talking about System of a Down as like my most influential band, but I mean, I probably would have never liked the genre enough to fall into what I did with System of a Down for dipping my feet in Linkin Park, because they are, I have a very long nostalgic and intimate connection with these songs, because they were the first heavy songs.
They represent a turning in life, right? That's one of the greatest things about music is that you can put on music now that you heard 20 years ago, and it'll still take you back to a particular time, a place, a vivid memory. It's just, it creates those really weird connections in your brain. Tim, how about you? When did you come across Linkin Park? First thoughts, liked it, hated it?
I honestly cannot remember when I first came across it, but I do remember hearing the single and not liking it at first. I was like, it's just kind of like too poppy for me. But this was back when like I thought like death metal was like the coolest thing ever.
Wait, which single?
Was it One Step Closer?
Yes.
One Step Closer was too poppy. That just shows you how different times were.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I mean, back then, like we've said before, like when like nu metal was getting corny, like you went to the hardcore and the death metal, and like you hear this and you're like, yeah, whatever. But then as I got older and I remember listening to this record, I'm like, dude, this is like one of the catchiest records of all time. And I said to Jay in the message earlier this week, I said, listening to Hybrid Theory as many times as I have this week, it's one of the best written records in the entire genre. It might be the best written record in the entire genre.
That's a fair statement.
It's the polished approachable version of their predecessors.
Yeah.
You had like the hip hop and pop elements throughout nu metal, but nobody had really really closest thing you had to Linkin Park before Linkin Park was Limp Bizkit.
Yeah.
Now I'm sure there's a million other bands here and there that are like that. You know, You've got, I don't know if Playmo was before them or after them, but you've got all sorts of different bands that sound like it. But Linkin Park, the difference was simply that they took what people were bending genres to fit into nu metal, and we're like, we're just going to take all of this and make this the big picture.
Yep.
And it's going to be a pop song played heavier than you've ever heard it.
You're right. They took the underlying thread of what was popular in that, for lack of a better term, alternative culture, and they polished it and they made it palatable to a much, much, much larger audience, which is really where, I mean, my journey with these guys, I mean, I went through a time where I would just go to Best Buy every Tuesday and buy whatever I could, whatever I could afford. And I remember buying this CD in a pile, and it was one of those CDs where I saw the video for One Step Closer, whatever, it was okay. But I noticed that every time I would put it on, I'd always be turning and looking at the radio. Like there'd always be something that caught my ear. And when I went back and I gave it a solid headphone listen, I realized, yeah, this is well put together music.
Yeah.
Like the album is, this isn't an adjective that we use to describe a lot of this stuff. It's highly listenable in the sense that you get to the end of the album and you're like, well, I could just start that over again and I won't be bored by it. And I'll still be humming. I'll probably find 3 different spots that now I want to hum along to.
Yeah. It's expertly written.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ahead of the time written stuff. I mean, even today, it's still that good. I don't think there's many albums in that genre that come close to the talent of them songs.
Yeah, and it also came out, I mean, at the perfect time.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, huge thing. Like you could realistically, like it's circled back around with the culture of not necessarily that style of music, but like aggression is making its way back into music. Whereas for the longest time, it's been all about happy-go-lucky. You've either got like the super laid back or you've got the super high energy. But now you're like actually getting people that are like showing aggression in music again. And so I feel like if you put out, you know, maybe not In the End, but you put out Numb, you put out One Step Closer, you put out some of these heavier tracks, they wouldn't make as big a footprint, but they'd still make some noise today just because, I mean, not to mention, God, the production.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
Like, the production on them records are incredible.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's one of those records. It's one of those bands where going back, I was saying this before we started recording that like, I've listened to these albums. There's probably not a record out that I've listened to more than Hybrid Theory and Meteora. And I've listened
even the System records?
In recent years, probably. But when I'm a kid and I don't have Spotify, I just have my little shitty boombox and those CDs. I mean, if I could find my original like Hybrid Theory CD, it would look like I'd taken a knife to it because I've just done it so many times. And
definitely.
So I forgot what I was going with this. Oh, so just like I haven't really sat down because it's one of those that I put on because it's familiar and it's comfortable and it's great. I hadn't until we had this podcast idea for this episode. I was like, I sat down and like really listened to it from a songwriting, artistic perspective. And what I think always catches me off guard is that you're so captivated by Mike and Chester that you don't even really realize how perfectly structured the band makes everything else. Because one thing that we'll say probably multiple times, every part in a Linkin Park song, it is very rare that they bring in a new riff for the heavy bridge. It is usually given to you at the beginning, and they find a way to work it so that by the time it comes back, it hits even harder than the first time you heard it.
That's a very, very great point. Because now I'm thinking of like Paper Cut. When Paper Cut comes in, it is the chorus riff.
Yeah, one of them.
You're right.
Off the top of my head, One Step Closer. I think the like "Shut Up When I'm Talking to You." That's a different riff that doesn't happen beforehand. But I mean,
well, I would consider that part like a bridge, though, or a pre-chorus, actually. Well, in my opinion, yeah.
But we were even, Orthodox is writing a bunch of songs right now, and we've even been talking about like. I brought it up, like one of the coolest things in terms of Linkin Park songwriting is that they don't hide anything from you. They're like, hey, here's something now. And the familiarity that you're going to get from it later is going to help because we're going to just have this driving train. Yeah. We're going to find something to do before it comes back that makes it feel like you've not heard it and it's punching you in the face as hard as it can. And that is, as somebody who, I think I can rightfully say Orthodox is a heavier band than Linkin Park.
Yeah, that's a fair statement. Yep.
But as someone who writes music that is heavier, I don't know that we have that many parts that hit as hard as some of Linkin Park's things. And that is harder. It's harder to bring something back and make it have a heavier impact than it is to just be like, here's this really good song. Here's this ass beater riff in the middle of it. So that's that in itself shows the quality of the things that they're playing and the way that they structure it. Just make it. There's very few bands that can do it.
How much of that attributes to the production though, like layering it and automating it to be more in your face and more punchier? You know what I mean?
It's not that much different.
You don't think?
Let me think. So what song is it? It goes dun, 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 dun. I think it's With You. Yeah, With You.
Okay.
From the very beginning, huge riff. Points of Authority from the very beginning, huge riff. That's one thing that's also crazy is that the production doesn't really fluctuate. They just have different pieces. So there's not that much layering, but that's what makes it even more impressive is that the reason that it's hit so much harder at some point is because of the insane dynamic that they form between two guitars, a bass, a DJ, an MC, drums, and a singer who can yell for a minute straight without a breath. You can't, having seven pieces, if I'm not mistaken, it's a lot of pieces. And they're not, and this isn't a slide of Slipknot, but they're not just like pounding big drums and beating each other up. Like every person in that group is doing a very notable, important thing. Yeah,
each person has a role and they do it well.
Exactly. And that's what makes it to where they don't do, I'm sure there may be some layering, but like, it's not so much, it's not like Gojira where we're like, when you're listening to a Gojira song, it's big and open. And then when they have that riff that they want you to collapse to, it feels like your car is imploding.
Yeah. That new album is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, say that real quick too.
It was holy shit was one of those reactions. Yeah.
That album is probably the easiest Gojira album to listen to top to bottom.
Yo, the chorus riff of Amazonia is my favorite riff in like the last 10 years.
Dude, the breakdown at the end of what's the first song that they have? The Greatest Fear of All?
Oh, the first single.
Born for One Thing.
Yeah, incredible.
And then it goes into the breakdown just following that.
Yeah.
It's shit like that where I'm so pissed. Like, why didn't I?
Yeah, it's like, God damn it.
Yeah, his guitar writing is unreal.
I was hanging out with Isaac from Knock Loose the other day, and they're going on tour with him. And I was like, dude, this is the first time you're probably ever gonna be on tour with a band that is decidedly heavier than you.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
and
right.
And then when they come back to write a new record, they're gonna have them elements in there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but yeah, so Linkin Park almost untouchably better at what they do. I mean, everybody else just tried to do it after them.
Yeah, they kind of were them and Slipknot were at this, and they came out pretty much the same time. They not the death knell, but they were the apotheosis, right? At that point, it's like, look, you can either just have 15 people on stage and just absolutely lose your shit and be heavy in a way that is not typically mainstream accessible, or you can craft these brilliant, beautiful, pitch perfect songs and try and compete with somebody who's already doing that and doing a bang up job at it. And it's kind of like, well, that's how you end up with the derivative stuff.
And then you also think about how many bad nu metal records came after Linkin Park came through and just wiped the floor. Yeah. As people were trying to do, they were like, oh, I've made this money, but now I know in my genre there's this money to be made.
Yep.
Like, I want to do that. And they couldn't do it. There's the reason why math at certain levels only works in certain heads. And it's the same thing for how music is played and performed. And there's a reason why only certain people can do certain things.
Yeah.
And like, I would say to call them the end all of like what nu metal was and like why it kind of was not done, but like best by 2003 has a lot to do with them coming in and setting a bar too high for anybody else to reach, but people kept jumping.
Yeah.
I think this record sold more than like 5 of the other biggest records combined because it went diamond. And when have we ever talked about a record that went diamond?
I don't think we ever have.
I don't think.
Have you ever even heard of a record going diamond? Honestly,
I mean, yeah,
Mm-mm.
not in
this genre. I mean,
yeah, not in this genre. I mean,
yeah.
Has Slipknot? Has anything from Slipknot?
I don't. I know platinum.
Platinum.
Definitely platinum, but this is diamond. I mean, that's
So,
fucking crazy.
It goes back to System of a Down, how we talked about, like, even today, their numbers are higher than anybody else really in the metal world.
Yeah, definitely.
I think probably the only other band that could probably have gone diamond in like the new metal rock era, probably Nickelback.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Yeah, I guess my question now, we think of diamond. What about like Incubus? Right, because their later careers saw them get really big, but yeah, not that big. Godsmack, maybe Disturbed. When new metal made the turn, right? So like, and talking about this album, so the first time I saw these guys live, honestly, the only time I saw them live was when they played Ozfest. What was it, 2000? And they were sharing the stage with Disturbed, Godsmack, Megadeth, Crazy Town. We're gonna deep dive in that album. A couple other bands, and they were easily the most talented band on that show. Easily the most talented band on that show.
I just lost my train of thought right there too.
So while
you
you're
say something, I totally forgot.
While that train's coming back, let's talk about before we go into the picks. Let's talk about the remix album. Tim's favorite thing. Everybody who listens to the show know I'm a big fan of remixes, and there are 20 tracks on this album? I think there's 2 segues, maybe 3. And I would dare say that there's no filler. You could definitely tell where Mike Shinoda's influence comes in with a lot of the hip hop. I think Pharoah Monch shows up on one. Aaron Lewis shows up on a song. The one with Steven Richards is actually great, from Taproot, where you want to talk about a band that late new metal just ripped him off horribly. When Tim and I did the dive into some of the obscure stuff, we realized that past a certain point, every band either decided they wanted to be Taproot or Primer 55.
Yep. And
that is, you could literally put them in those camps. But I like this album, and it's ballsy for a band who's on their way up. They've only had one full LP to do a 20-song remix album on a major label. Back then that was ballsy.
Yeah. But the crazy thing is that there's arguably some songs that were huge songs on Hybrid Theory that are better on Reanimation.
Yes.
Wow.
And
yeah, absolutely.
We'll get there, but I almost feel like we should. I know we talked about doing 10 picks each. I feel like we're cutting ourselves out of some good discussion if we don't do at least 13.
All right, well, let's get going and see how the time goes.
We can do 10, and then if we're there's still so much to go. Because I guess I'm talking about if I'm discussing 10 songs, whatever. But I guess it is 30 songs that we're probably talking about if that's the case. But let's also just for the note of the fact that, to everyone listening to this, the original idea was, let's do a deep dive on Hybrid Theory. And then we're well, also Meteora is great. Oh, are we going to do Hybrid Theory and Reanimation? Then Jay comes in and says the whole draft thing. The fact of the matter is we have now set up a scheme where we are going to, instead of talk about whole albums, dive into individual songs. And it's probably going to be more interesting than most other deep dives. That's how good these songs are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, so let's get the clock going with the first pick of the Linkin Park draft. Adam, you have 60 seconds.
Oh, we have a time?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I asked Jay if this would work earlier. Okay, yeah, it will. This is the one key perk to being in my new little office space, is I can do this for my first pick is...
Okay. And that is that's on Meteora, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, you bastard. Is this Hit the Floor?
It is Lying From You.
Lying From You. Okay. All right.
So my reason for Lying From You is because when you really think about Linkin Park and all of their elements, there is nothing missing from that song. top to bottom. It starts off with a catchy. I mean, that song is one of the ones that Jay-Z had a remix song with. I mean, that little like, I guess it's string sample, literally would work in almost every era of hip hop. And then it comes in with this huge like, and again, it's another situation where later in the song comes back, that opening riff finally comes back, feels bigger than ever because you put Mike Shinoda and Chester Bennington over it. And it's everything you want from Linkin Park because it's groovy, it's heavy, it's got Mike on the verse, it's got Chester on the chorus, and it has a bridge that features them both. And then it just has a cut ending. Is
this the chorus, Adam, where the very worst part of you is me? That's this song?
I wanna be pushed aside.
Yep. Yeah, I thought, I mean, and the interplay between the two of them, right, in that one section.
This isn't what I wanted to be. I never thought that would. Yeah. Oh, dude.
Yeah, it's really. I mean, and I know we didn't go into Meteora, but I mean, Meteora actually built on top of all the foundation they laid with Hybrid Theory. They took that exact recipe and made a 10,000 times better cake than the first cake they made, which was absolutely delicious.
Yeah, it's God, shut up. Sorry, I'm in a group chat that will not stop texting me. Hold on, I don't know how to mute this on my computer. Give me a second to try to be tech savvy.
You on a Mac?
Yeah.
I just bought a Mac Mini. I'm learning it, so I can't tell you.
Oh, great. Okay. Do I just tell them to shut up because I'm doing a podcast?
That'll work.
Hey guys, can y'all stop talking? I
think you just mute the conversation.
Can I do that from here?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you just.
This is why we need to do it live.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm pretty sure you just pull up the messaging
I did
app,
it.
and then you do it. Yeah.
We'll see if I got it. We'll find out soon, I'm sure.
Okay, so first pick off the board line from you of Meteora, track number 4. Tim, you're on the clock.
I don't need 60 seconds. I'm just very glad you didn't steal my first one. But my first one is With You.
Oh, dude, God, that was my first pick, son of a...
Dude, great.
Dude, that chorus is so fucking good.
Oh.
I like went back and listened to it, and I'm like, because I had another song first, and then I switched them last minute because I re-listened to it. I'm like, nah, dude, this song is the best song on that record. I had to go.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a
record.
Great song.
Oh, there's no denying it's the best. It's a phenomenal song, but that is one where I'm probably not going to pick this, so I'm just going to go ahead and say it. The riff that they use in the beginning of it for Reanimation is harder.
Shit. I can't even say anything about Reanimation.
Tim's brain was melted. No, this is a brilliant song. And again, it's the interplay where, the Chester and Mike interplay in the chorus. And yeah, this is awesome. I mean, and again, if you look at the track listing of that album, right? Because Tim and I have the running joke now, you listen to the second song first, that tells you how good the album's going to be. Their second track in that album is One Step Closer, and it's Paper Cut, One Step Closer, With You. Then it's Points of Authority and Crawling. So that's their opening, basically their starting 5. That's kind of bananas if you think about it, considering 2 of those songs were major, 3 of them, Paper Cut, One Step, and Crawling were all major singles for them. That's kind of wild.
What's also really cool about this song is that the main driving melody in the opening is done by the DJ.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I say that it sounds like it's done on a DJ. It could be a guitar effect, but it sounds like it's coming from the turntables. So
I think you're right.
Yeah, because it sounds like it goes from the little scratches in the beginning to like full blood, just like screaming, and it's like wah, 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 wah.
I do want to say before we go, I just thought of something. Don't play any more songs from your phone because we're going to get flagged for that instantly.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, these songs.
About that. Yeah, we're going to get killed on these.
We could get away with Playbo. Yeah.
I was going to make the joke of like, man, Diamond Record, we should be talking about this?
No, we can talk about it, but
I
wouldn't play it. Yeah.
The YouTube machine will pick it up warp speed.
Dude, they'll send the fucking Secret Service to your house and make you delete that shit.
I'll bring it on.
Yeah, right. I'm sitting here in my New Breed t-shirt, like the feds come to the door. Like, what really? Did you guys have anything to do? Okay, so I'm up on the clock in snake draft. So I've got 2 picks.
You son of a bitch.
I am going to start with, so my first pick is going to be off of Meteora. I'm going to go with Easier to Run because I think that is one of their most uplifting songs. Like the way the guitar is structured in the chorus, right? And you have Chester's, he's not really soaring is a word that when you use that to describe vocals, you think like, some vocalist going off the deep end, but
sure.
It really is like a very bright and it's a very bright song. It's still heavy. It's still got an edge to it, but it's a very, it's a pleasant listen. Like to the point where I had this riff stuck in my head all week to the point where when I was going back and listening to these albums, I kept saying, what was the song that I really liked? And I could hear it in my head. This is it. So that's my first pick.
If it doesn't get picked by the time it's back to me, I'm going to make all of your points with a better pick, but go ahead.
Okay.
It's really hard. See, this is what sucks. It's like the snake draft thing you're supposed to do with your buddies, and you're like, oh, you fucking picked him first round, you fucking loser. Like, but I can't do that because I love all these songs. But I can go ahead and say that for a first round pick, balls on you there, because that's not
it's not a
first round pick.
No, that's mine. That's my favorite. And for my
you get 2 though, so whatever.
Yeah, right. So I can
back safety.
So my second pick is off of Hybrid Theory, Points of Authority.
Fucker.
I think this is a great song.
I knew that was going quick.
Well written. And it's heavy, but in a way where you're like, it's not Slipknot blasting your face off. It's just a very expertly written, aggressive, without like, oh, Dad, well, I hate my parents, which is a new metal pastiche we see over and over again. I just think it's expertly written and beautiful.
There's not that many like hip hop intros to heavy songs that are more memorable than Mike's lead in.
On that track?
Yeah, on Points of Authority. Like,
great lyrics in that song too.
Yeah.
Of course, as soon as I say that, I can't actually recollect them, but that's just how it goes.
Well, it starts when Chester says, "You love the way I look at you," and like it's just the guitar, and then it's him singing, and then it goes into that like DJ laden pre-chorus part. But the chorus of that song, another chorus, man, to just expertly written chorus parts again.
Yeah, and that's we keep coming back to the choruses, because when I think about a lot of these songs, when I look at one of the rare bands that I look at the song title and I can hear the chorus in my head, which is kind of rare for this type of music.
Forfeit the game before somebody else takes you out of the frame.
Yes.
Put your name to shame. Cover up your face. You can't run the race. The pace is too fast. You just won't last. Boom.
Yep. Dun, 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 yep.
The fact that that's not used in every sports montage ever is a fucking swing and a miss.
Usually it's Godsmack or something.
Dude, it's literally it's awful, like big poppy, like we're gonna win, like awful music.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you're watching the NHL where dudes are like skating 30 miles an hour into a crashing board, and you want me to be like optimistic?
Adam, you're a hockey fan?
Am
I a hockey fan? Yeah, you're a hockey fan?
So backstory as to why I had to push this back was because my parents were going to come over yesterday for my birthday dinner, but I went to the Predators playoff game instead. Like, I am a hard Nashville Predators fan. I literally have 2 Preds tattoos. Like, could talk hockey. We can't start talking about hockey because we have a lot of Linkin.
No, I'm going to derail this, but I will say this: like, I am not a hockey fan per se. I'm one of those. I'm more of a laissez-faire sports fan where if it's a good game on, I'll watch it. But I recently came across the guy from the Oilers, who is unreal.
There's
the guy
2.
what's his name?
Connor McDavid, and then he's also got Leon Draisaitl with him too.
Tim, if you haven't seen this dude skate, he literally looks like Barry Sanders on skates. There was his top 10 plays where he took the puck, split 3 defenders, got right in front of the goalie, jammed on the brakes, and went upper left. And it was like, I was just watching it. I'm not a hockey fan, but I was like, that is some fucking athleticism right there.
So the season was shortened from 82 games to, I think it was 54 this year. he got 100 points.
Damn, dude.
Yeah. And not only that, but the Oilers aren't that good.
Mm-mm.
They have him and Leon Draisaitl and a couple of other good players. But Connor McDavid, they call him McJesus. That's literally his nickname. And it's because he's basically, to play on the pun, the second coming of Wayne Gretzky. Like he is
I'm going to Google him.
Undeniably the best player in the NHL.
Yeah, find him on YouTube, Tim. He is, even if you don't like hockey, it is
I do
wild
like hockey.
to watch this guy move.
You don't see the flyer on my cup?
Yeah, but you're a Philly fan, and you just fall into, all the Philly sports fans. They all like all the sports and, batteries. But speaking of batteries at JD Drew, did you see Gloves Off did a T-shirt where they did the old Phillies logo?
Yeah.
And it was in the maroon and white. It said throwing snowballs at Santa since XXX. I thought that was really good.
I think it was batteries, but same
batteries.
Shit, yeah.
All right, Tim, you're up. What's your second pick?
You guys are going to be surprised at this one. I think this is the best single that they ever released, and I'm going with Somewhere I Belong.
Ooh, that's a good song.
It's a very good song.
It's a brilliant song. Like, I mean, Tim and I were talking about, Adam, before we recorded that I would fast forward through all the singles as I was re-listening, because I've heard One Step Closer 1,000 times over. This is one of the ones I didn't fast forward through because I just think it's that good of a song.
It's a great track, man. It's like one of them songs you listen to like if you're in like a depressed mood or like a bad mood, and you can listen to that song and it'll just like uplift you right away.
Yeah,
it's really it's a really cool song because the actual chorus is pretty much one note the whole time. It's just, I want to heal. I want to feel like I'm somewhere I belong. Like, it's all very right there. But then they take it to the bridge where it does the I will never know. And it's big, open, like strumming guitars. It's another situation of nothing that complicated, but you can't stop singing. And it's
and I love the piano parts in it. I think they're done very well in that song. So I was like, out of all the singles, I always just thought that was their best one.
Yeah.
Since Jay took my points of authority, so
that was on my list too. So
I've got some weird picks here. All right, Adam, you're up, and you've got 2 picks.
Okay, so number 2, I'm going to go ahead and just go on to what you were talking about with Easier to Run. We're going to go with Breaking the Habit.
Wow.
So Breaking the Habit is, I feel like this has to go early because the whole point of it, the reason we even thought of doing this is because of Chester. And this song is just an ode to his talent the entire time. And not only that, it has a really awesome animated music video. And it's just a really catchy song. Like, it's not necessarily a heavy song at really any point, but emotionally and lyrically, it's really heavy. It's constantly, like, it's incredibly introspective and talking about what happened to him. I don't know what's worth fighting for and why I have to scream. I don't know why I instigate and say what I don't mean. Like, it's so very much like, I don't know how I got this way. I know it's not all right. So I'm breaking the habit tonight. Like, it's just I don't know. I feel like it's very relatable because every single person on earth has that one thing they do that they're pissed at themselves for doing and going back to doing it and constantly just beating themselves up. And
there you go.
Yeah, literally, he's sitting there, pumping on the flash drive, and
and this song, Adam, it's the drums that whenever I read the title, that's all I hear in my head. That drumming it's not high in the mix, but it's present enough that you can hear that repeat through the entire song. And that to me is like, it's not hip hop ish, but it's high enough up in the mix that you can't hear, like when you were just singing his voice, I heard the drums in the background of my head because that's what I cued off of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's such a great song. And it's one of those where you know, it wasn't my favorite when I was in the mix of like ridiculous Linkin Park fandom. It wasn't that high on my list, but going back and listening to things and analyzing, like, this is lyrically like kind of one of the whole points for me with songwriting is to try to like connect. Basically, the point of songwriting is to say something in a way that it hasn't been said before, but still be able to connect other people with what you're saying. And this song is just, it does that in ways, but then also it's so blatant. Like, I'm beating on the walls because I'm the one at fault. And then it says, I'll never fight again. And this is how it ends. And that's, to me, just knowing how, whether that was related to what actually went down or not, like, it's just such a heavy statement. So,
pick number 3, Adam.
Pick number 3. We're staying on Meteora. We're going to go with Faint.
Okay.
It's another ode to, it's the similar, it's a similar idea to why I picked Lying From You, is because it starts off with a super catchy, cool, like bells sample that then comes in with, and it's just big and open and catchy, and then goes right into Mike with a catchy verse right into the chorus with Chester, and then the "Don't turn your back on me, I won't be ignored." That, to me, like, there's not, well, also, actually, no, there is a bridge where it goes into just Chester yelling. I think this is probably like his most aggressive song.
I was just gonna say, like, I'm thinking of the song in my head. I'm like, that song is that's a song that starts out with like that weird, like, yeah, is it like a violin or something?
It's
almost like the same riff like Britney's Toxic. It's definitely strings. I mean, I hate to say it, but that's what the strings.
Yeah. Great track though.
Yeah, and when it goes into him, I mean, it's just the same exact thing of like, it's not a heavy song, but because of how Chester is, it whoops your ass. It really does.
Definitely great.
So that is my 3rd pick.
All right, we're getting somewhere. We've already taken 4 songs from Meteor off the board, 2 from Hybrid Theory, and all of Reanimation's out there. So Tim, what is your 3rd pick?
The intro of Hybrid Theory, Paper Cut.
Nice.
Fucking incredible song. Great way to start the record out. Great lyrics again. Shit, I accidentally played it. I was trying to look at the lyrics for a second. But yeah, I mean, it's like, when I was usually like at first when I would listen to this record, I would kind of skip it and go to like With You. But like the more that I listened to it in the past couple of weeks, I'm like, this song is just as good as I thought it was back then. I don't know why like I was skipping it, like because I mean I listen to this record all the time, like through the years, but it's not one of them records I would put on like just randomly on one day. But the more I listen to it again, I'm like, yeah, this song is top notch stuff. So
yeah,
and I'm glad no one picked it yet because you guys are making this easy for me.
All right, Adam. We're only going to pick the singles from here on out, make Tim's life difficult. All right, so Tim's 3rd pick, a Paper Cut. Good choice. All right, so now I've got 2. So I am going to get a little off the beaten path. I'm going to make the first pick from Reanimation. No surprise there, Tim. I'm actually taking track number 6, which is Pushing Me Away. And this is the one with Stephen Richards from Taproot. I love the song Pushing Me Away. I thought it was a great album closer, but I also thought what they did with this added a new flavor to an old meal, for lack of a better analogy. And I think Stephen Richards' vocals work, and maybe it's because they're kind of kissing cousins with Chester's softer delivery. I think, but it's a different intonation. That for me, I was like, okay, yeah, I really, really like that song.
Yeah.
Tim's like, oh, Jay, stop talking about remixes. All right,
I have to mute a little bit so I can listen to the songs again, and then because I'm like the worst at
like shit. Which one is that?
Yeah, I'm like the worst at remembering exactly what they sound like. But as soon as I hear the intro, I'm like, oh yeah, that's it.
Yep. And that's another thing about all of their catalog, right? And you hear a good 5-10 seconds, you're like, I remember this song. Yeah, this is really good. Put it up.
Yep.
All right, so that was my my third pick. My fourth pick, I'm going to go well off the beaten path, but I'm going to go back to Meteora. I'm going to take Nobody's Listening. I love that song. I love the hip hop break that's played in the back. I love Chester's chorus. I think it fits. And it's one of those songs that it's so far, it's left field for them. But to me, I'm like, it makes my ears stop. Because whenever I was listening in the background, I had this album on repeat. This song came on, I would stop and I would just stare at the speaker and just nod my head. Definitely one of my favorites.
That song is so much better than Limp Bizkit that it almost feels like a diss.
Yeah.
Like it's literally just like a new metal hip hop song. And they're like, yeah, fuck you, Fred. Like it's so good. And it's also so awesome that it's very much a hip hop song, but it is not that sample driven. Once it actually gets into it, it's like, it's the band.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. And I think, we talked about, you were talking about Knocked Loose going on tour with Gojira and bringing some of that influence back. I think the remix album had a lot of influence with this song because the remix album was a lot of hip hop and it was a lot of scratching and a lot of those I don't want to say dub beats, but it was that lower end type of hip hop beat. They carried it right into the song.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, Tim, you are up again. Your fourth pick.
Easy. Runaway. Hybrid Theory.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
I don't remember. What's the chorus on this one?
I want to run away, never say goodbye.
Okay.
I want to know the truth instead of why. Great fucking track, man. See, I'm very privy to this record. Meteora is an excellent record, but there's just too many good songs on Hybrid Theory.
Hybrid Theory is definitely the closest to underground that you can get for Linkin Park in terms of sound too.
Yeah, I mean, because as the records go on, they definitely get more radio friendly. Not that these weren't radio friendly, but they definitely get more popish and radio friendly. So
yeah. I don't think I've listened to anything they put out since 2000.
No.
My buddy Matt swears the newest record they did is like their best one, but
which one
I
is
can't
that?
get into it.
Is that One More Light?
Yeah. I tried.
It's a little too,
It's
too wait a minute. They did they've done 4 albums after Meteora, Minutes to Midnight.
Yeah, they've done a lot of stuff, man.
Minutes to Midnight, and then the one that follows that is actually pretty good.
Living Things?
Maybe.
Recharged, The Hunting Party.
Song War.
I'm just looking at Spotify and I'm like, I don't even, 1,000 Suns.
1,000 Suns.
I don't know any of these albums.
Yeah, I mean, they put out a lot, but it was just one of those situations where it was so not what people
taste had changed.
Yeah, and it stayed popular in the mainstream world. It just was not my thing.
Yeah.
It's
a funny sort of way how bands 1 second are the biggest thing in the world, the next second they're kind of not. And I always think of this one Fred Durst quote where there was an interview, after they had their day in the sun, and he said, I woke up one morning and there were 13 million people were fans of our albums, and then I woke up the next day and it was down to 1.3, and I was like, it really does make you think about it, put it in perspective. Fred Durst, by the way, if you're listening, you're our white elephant. Please come on the show. In case he's listening. All right, Tim, are you up again?
No, I just went.
Adam has pick 4.
He has 2.
Oh, he has 2. Yeah, he has 2. Shit.
So I'm gonna do one step closer, but I'm gonna do it from Reanimation because good old Johnny Davis.
Yep.
Brings a very different flavor to that. It was one of those where growing up listening to that, I wasn't even really listening to Korn, but I just knew that I loved his voice. And I don't even honestly know what he says. I really don't. Whenever it goes into the shut up when I'm talking to you, shut up. Na, 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 na. I don't know what he's actually saying, but it sounds great.
Not a collaboration, Adam, I ever would have guessed would have happened. Right? Because they're not the same type of new metal. They're not. I mean, when I so one of the things I wish Tim and I could go back and re-record the big four. When I thought about the big four of nu metal after listening to this stuff, it is undeniably it's Korn, Linkin Park, Slipknot, and Limp Bizkit, right? But my fourth pick was used to be somebody else, Deftones, and now I'm like, no, it definitely is Linkin Park. But they're a much more polished and approachable type of nu metal compared to like Korn, which is almost cathartic in its emotional rawness.
Korn sounds like they drag their instruments through the garden before they record.
Yeah.
I mean, that's actually kind of a pun on their name too. I didn't even mean to do that, but yeah, I mean, I would say that I'd be surprised. But you also have to remember that like, this is Reanimation. It's a very much like a industrial hip hop take on what was the biggest nu metal album of all time. Still probably is the biggest nu metal album of all time. And Jonathan Davis loves hip hop. So not that big of a surprise that he like does it on a big remix record, but also like, it doesn't matter how big your band is. It doesn't matter how big Korn is. If Linkin Park's like, yo, come sing on this song, you're an idiot not to.
Yeah.
So, but I also feel like what's also cool about this song is they took it, and when they do the like big shut up when I'm talking to you breakdown, they reapply the instruments to play like it's a Korn riff almost. Like the bass feels like it's being pounded as opposed to just like playing the chords. Like it's a really cool twist to what it was before. So yeah. Next pick, going back to Hybrid Theory. The heaviest riff on this entire album kicks off this song, and it's By Myself.
Son of a bitch.
Damn it.
Yep. That song, this whole time we've been talking about their mastery of like, they come in and they do this riff and then they bring it back later. It's so heavy and abrupt coming out of Runaway that it's probably the only song that it doesn't feel heavier when it comes back the second time, because it just can't. Like to come out of Runaway into dun 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 dun, like insane. I remember the first time I heard that, I think I just replayed the beginning over and over.
Yeah.
Like
that is a great
there is
one.
not a heavier Linkin Park riff than that one.
You finally took one of my songs.
Well,
shit, I had that on the list. Okay.
You got points of authority. Like what?
True. All right, Tim, you're up. Your fifth pick.
I'm gonna go with Don't Stay on Meteora.
Oh, what a great opener.
That is, and both openers on the first two records are just perfect for me. I'm so glad no one took this, because my list is banging at this point right now. It's gonna be hard to beat this one. But yeah, another great track.
Yeah. It's and the other thing where I noticed with this song, and it carried me through when I noticed the rest of the album, the scratching is there, but it's not so prevalent that you can't help but hear it.
Yeah.
But it's not buried, because I mean, I like what Lethal does with Limp Bizkit, but there are obviously some times where it's buried and you can't hear it.
Yeah, whereas, it's very upfront in this.
Yeah, but it's not so upfront that you're like, oh my God, the DJ's like in my face. Can I hear some guitar?
Yeah, exactly.
It's accentuates the music without taking it over.
Definitely.
I also want to say, you're talking about Korn and Linkin Park being very different bands. This song, the only real difference between like the riffs and the structure of this song and a lot of Korn songs is simply the vocal melodies, because it's literally big like it's big open notes the whole time, which is what Korn uses as their emphasis, especially up to this point. And the only difference is that you would probably hear some weird off-kiltered, a little creepier vocal if you were to have Jonathan Davis sing this. But like musically, this is very close to Korn.
Yeah.
Well, think about if Linkin Park was tuned, not tuned, but played 7-string like in these songs. So what? Do you know what tuning these songs are in?
I think they're standard.
I think they are too, dude.
Yeah.
So
which is
if
fucking
you-
impressive on
if
many
you
levels.
add the top B with a 7 and play them riffs that way, it would be a completely different band, and it would not be as appealing.
Well, maybe not on the mainstream level. I would be equally as appealed.
Oh, yeah,
Or
but you know what I mean.
seven.
Like the 12 to 15-year-olds wouldn't be as appeal. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And I'm gonna go after this and figure out what tuning it is, and then I'm gonna play it in my 7 and see how they sound.
Yeah, send me a video of that. Send me
I
the by
will.
myself riff with a 7.
Okay. Which one do you say?
By myself.
Okay. I'll see what I can do.
Right. So, rounding out the first half of the draft, I get pick number 5. I am going to go with, off of Hybrid Theory, Forgotten. This song comes out the gate. It's in your face. Not the harmonic, but the quasi harmonics or the squeals. Love that. And it's
it's great.
Kind of an outlier on the album because it's aggressive from the get-go, more aggressive than some of the other stuff. And it just, there's no like Adam talked about before, the introduction of the riff that comes back later in a heavier incarnation. It's out the gate and it's going. And that's what one of the things my notes here said, like, oh, this is a slap in the face to start this listen.
Also, it's really cool how it's hilarious. They literally use hoo-ha as a filler in that song. Like, I don't know if you guys have caught that, but it goes dun 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 dun. Like, it's literally them doing that. But also they take it and they cut it in half for the verse to this weird, like, feel like you're looking at the rain in the city, like could be played on piano, but is played on a guitar riff that's heavily driven with a lot of scratches from the turntables. And then it's literally like the way that they conclude the verse lyrically then sets up right back to dun, 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 like goes right back into it. It's it's a
great song. And it's true that there really are such amazing songs in this album. So that ends the first half. So as of right now, we have Adam's playlist starts with Lying From You, Breaking the Habit, Faint, the what was it, First Closer? Is that it?
One Step Closer.
One Step Closer. I have
one STP Closer.
Yeah, my writing, I actually wrote the names and didn't think I should put translations next to it. One Step Closer and By Myself, which is, God, that's good. Tim has With You, Somewhere I Belong, Paper Cut, Runaway, and Don't Stay. And I've got, let's see, Easier to Run, Points of Authority, Pushing Me Away, the remix, Nobody's Listening, and Forgotten. So what's still on the board?
I think we should give Tim the forward as well on his playlist.
I think that's last on my list.
The way that Runaway ends, if you're just putting it in this order on the playlist, it'll sound really cool for Runaway to end, and then you just hear and then it goes in. You just need that there. You can have it. I'll give you the extra drop back here.
Okay, so what do we still have?
Is that a consolation pick for me?
No, it's an accent. It's an accent pick.
So I'm trying to help you
out. Okay, so what do we still got? We still have 5 tracks off of Meteora. We have.
Do we still want to do 10?
Yeah, we can still do 10. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Or did you want to do 12 or so? What did you say?
Dude, I'm fine with going until we can't because I love these records that much, and it also would be funny to see who has to pick something like, Cure for the Itch. Like,
let's do it. Fuck it.
Hey, we'll just keep going then.
Yeah.
All right, so we got to let out there. So now I've got my second pick. I'm going to go back to Meteora, and I'm doing Figure 9. I think that song is fucking awesome. And You Become a Part of Me. I mean, the whole chorus. The Get Away From Me that Chester yells, right? Like, and then it's and it's him and Mike going back and forth. Awesome song. Again, heavier for radio, right? I mean, because aside from the singles were, From the Inside, Breaking the Habit, Faint, Somewhere I Belong, you could have literally grabbed any one of these songs thrown on the radio, and I'm pretty sure it would have been successful.
Yeah. I think That's a good pick, especially because the guitar in that verse is really cool. That's like a really cool riff that you don't hear that often for a mainstream single because it's not a easy thing to sing to.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Tim, you are up again. Pick number 6.
I'm going with Hit the Floor on Meteora.
Ah, damn it.
I just like that sound, like the and like in the song, it sounds like they're, on the guitar, like where you can hit the string, like before the little whatever that thing's called. I don't know. I just play the things. I don't know what the parts are called. It's like where the string goes to the tuning. Yeah. You ever hear like a band hit the tune, like the headstock?
Yep.
Yeah. Knocked Loose songs, Counting Worms, literally just starts off with them going.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I fucking love that part of that song, man. It just sounds great every time I listen to it.
All right.
And I'm very surprised because I thought Jay was gonna pick this song way before me.
Which one? It's one of my that I have tagged. This is one of the ones I was gonna.
I figured that. For some reason I'm like, this is a Jay song, so I had to grab it.
We've been doing this too long, Tim. You're starting to pick starting to know me too well. Okay, Adam, you've got back-to-back picks.
Okay. I'm gonna go with A Place for My Head off of Hybrid Theory.
Fuck.
Because it's that song is just. How does the chorus go or the bridge in that one go? Oh, you try to take the best of me, go away.
Mm-hmm.
Just shout out to how they do that live too, where they just milk the shit out of a guitar, just going lightly, boom, 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 like just so nothing, but it's huge when it comes back. So that's a pretty easy pick there. I am going to throw a curveball for the next one. And I'm going to go with Reanimation, My December.
Okay.
Mainly because I think the real appeal to songs like that is that it's not out of place, but it gives you a break. And if we're doing a playlist, you kind of need a breather, and that just makes the next thing to come hit even harder. So I'm just planning ahead so I can smoke you cowards. But basically, that song is also really, I don't know why that song has always hit me in the stomach, but especially growing up and like touring and being away from the road or being away from home a lot, I feel like that's kind of what he's talking about. Just because like you don't really have like a home for a month, essentially. Like, yeah, there's somewhere back home, but like the whole give it all away just to have someone, just to have somewhere to come home to, like, it's a pretty sad song because he's literally just saying like, I've had to give away, I've had to sacrifice so much for this lifestyle. And actually, now that I'm literally saying out loud, I'm realizing he's talking about a holiday without a family. Like he's given it all away. He would give all of his success away to have the normal life, which is a almost dead horse to beat in celebrity songwriting, but like it's never been done this way.
All right, Tim, you're up. Number 7.
All right. I'm going to go with Pushing Me Away on Hybrid Theory.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait, didn't we already do that? But Jay took the Reanimation.
Yeah, I took the remix.
I know, and I had that. That's why I had to mute and look at my notes, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. It was the remix, so we're good.
That's a hell of a closer too. Like it's a great.
Yeah,
I was going to say
like,
yeah,
a lot of the like records from back in the day, like especially in nu metal, like the closing songs were not always the best. Like I kind of feel like they just threw like kind of like a crap song on there to like more of like a filler track.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Let's finish up the album. Yeah.
Yeah. But this song is just very well written, and I feel like Meteoric, when it comes in, it just jumps right back into what they were doing before them songs. You know what I mean? Like it's like Because to me, like Meteora is kind of in the same vein as Hybrid Theory, but they do more of like a hip hop influence in that one, I think. But I think that song, they were kind of like, we got to start it out with, we got to jump right into it with like a crazy, like heavier song, and then we'll get back into what we're aiming for on this record. So I just think it's a great track because of that. And I don't know if that's what they were doing, but to me, it kind of seems like they were. So.
Yeah, that's fine. That's a good point. Also, anybody listening, if you really like how that song feels and how it ends the record, and like also just the feeling of Hybrid Theory, you should listen to the record Point Oblivion by the band Dark Matter. Not Dark Matter. Jesus. Wow. I just fucked that up. Hold on. Wow.
Fix it in post.
Dark Complex. So we literally had the singer on our fucking album as a guest spot, and I just forgot their band name.
I just started listening to them. They're pretty good.
Yeah, Point Oblivion literally feels like if Hybrid Theory came out in 2016. So, and they have a song on there that pulls very heavily from like the Pushing Me Away side of Linkin Park.
I'm gonna check that out.
What record was he on? The new one?
He was on Sounds of Loss. He's the guest.
Oh, okay.
He's the guest spot at the end of Second Best.
Okay. I'm gonna go back and listen to that after this.
Yeah. Okay. So I've got back-to-back picks. So rounding out number 7, round number 7, I'm gonna go with the first released single that I'm picking. This is of Meteora. This is Numb, because I think this is, again, it's a brilliant closer. I enjoy this song. And again, to me, a sign of a good album closer is the album ends and you want to hit play again. And the song ends, I hit start from beginning and I just keep going. I just think it's a great song, and it's just dexterous example of their songwriting.
I'm just pissed because I thought, because you guys talk shit on the singles in the group chat, I was like, oh, I'll have Numb late in the game.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's one of my more favorite songs of them. Surprised it lasted this long. And for my rebound pick on round number 8, I am going to go with the Points of Authority remix off of Reanimation. Jay Gordon from Orgy does it. It's the closest you're going to get to Nine Inch Nails-ish remixes of Linkin Park, and I just think it's I just think it's great.
Yeah, no, that's a great remix. It's also
anything Gordon's on's good, I think.
Yeah.
And this was released as a single, so they actually released a single off their remix album, which is kind of lit if you think about it.
Kinda. That's insane, because then I can't imagine, my band barely gets through one record cycle, so to milk 2 of the same thing, I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is crazy. But
all right, Tim, try your 8th pick is going to be
From the Inside on Meteora. Another great chorus. I love the I love how Mike and Chester just feed off of each other in this song. Just great track. Nothing really else much I could say about it.
That's
Adam's very good at describing songs.
In terms of which part?
Especially the verse part on this track. I just like how they feed off each other on this one.
So the I don't know who to trust, you're surprised. That one?
Yeah.
I don't know. The verse in this is one of the only songs they have where the verse kind of feels out of place to me.
Really? Wow.
Because like if you look at, and I don't know this to be true, but it almost feels like a different key than the chorus. And it may not be, it may just be my ear just doesn't take it in well, but it feels like with how big,
like the chorus when it jumps into the chorus,
how big the chorus, take everything from the end, like that's so huge that it almost feels like maybe it's because they drag the beat a little bit or something. It almost feels like it's just a little out of place for me. But
like it's a very driving chorus, but then you have the verse with like the pinch harmonics or the whatever the harmonics in it. I just like that part of the song, and it's always been catchy to me. But the chorus is very driving, and I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Are we out of Meteora songs now?
Session is the only Meteora track left.
Wow.
and we have
and forward.
and the
So
forward.
you have forward. That's yours now.
And we have 5 left on
Hybrid Theory. Okay.
Do we? Oh
yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We do. All right, Adam, you get back-to-backs.
Okay. Getting down to it now.
Yeah, this is getting rough.
All right, taking Crawling, because that's just, it's such an easy to sing song. Not easy to sing, easy to sing along to. Crawling in my skin, these words they will not heal. Yeah, it's such a perfect metaphor and such a well-written song. It doesn't surprise me at all that it has the success that it has. And it's also like, of the singles, I feel like that's the most popular one with like the, like, you know, not radio listener crowd. After that, I'm going to go with,
Yeah, it's getting thin.
yeah, it is. It's not thin. It's just, we're going to go with High Voltage off of Reanimation.
Ah, fucker. I like that one.
Or, wait. Yeah, no, that's the one I want. Is it? Hold on. Shit.
No, you want the track before, I think is what you're thinking of.
Executioner style?
Yeah.
No.
Jesus.
Yeah, that Jay wants you to pick that one though.
It's on my list. Shit.
Hear it. What no, I guess it is High Voltage. My brain's not working. It's a little late for me, boys, but
A9. Okay. High Voltage. No, that's a good one. And this is the one with Pharoah Monch. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, yeah, it is. What is it? It's just that I've been digging in the crates ever since I was living in this. Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm. All right, Tim. Track your pick number 9.
I guess I gotta go with a single on Hybrid Theory, and we'll do One Step Closer.
Okay.
I think it's a way better song than what the hell's that other one called? I have it written
In
down
the
here.
end.
Yeah, I think it's a way better song than that. So
Depends on where you're looking at it, but that is probably the hardest, probably the hardest line of any mainstream single is "Shut up when I'm talking to you."
Yeah.
Like, I honestly am surprised that it made it this far. Like that's a fucking ripper of a song.
Yeah, it's a well-written song.
It is.
Also, it's also weird that Jay, you said this was the first single out from Hybrid Theory, right?
One Step Closer. Yes.
That's kind of weird that they did a song where Mike is not present for their first single. I don't think he's got anything but backup vocals on this song.
Yeah, he only has backups. This is the video where Chester's upside down. Is it this one?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Damn it. Okay, so I've got back-to-backs now. Pick 9 and pick 10. Oof. Okay, so for pick 9, I'm going to go with the With You remix.
Damn it.
Because Tim got the real song, so I'll take the remix.
Okay.
And I really don't want to take In the End. What else can I go with here?
Well, think about your playlist. Who that's listening to this playlist doesn't know every word to In the End?
Yeah, fuck it. I'll take In the End.
Gotcha.
All right. So that clears In the End and then With You. So we've got Cure for the Itch left from Hybrid Theory. We've got Session left for Meteora and the Forward. And we have almost 3/4 of Reanimation. All right, Tim, you're up. Oh, buddy.
This is rough, dude.
You're painted into a corner on this one.
Oh, he doesn't have anything left. better get Cure for the Itch there, Tim. Mr. Han.
So,
is that the one with the piano? Cure for the Itch. The dun 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 dun. That's that one, right?
I don't know. So we're ending at 10. I guess I'm gonna have to go Session.
Actually, I had that on my
Cure for the
list.
Itch? Ooh.
Yeah. I would take Session over Itch.
Yeah, I like Session.
I mean, yeah. I would have to.
It's actually not. It's not a bad song though. It's not bad for an instrumental segue. It's not bad.
I just think that in the end, or not in the end, that Cure for the Itch is better, personally. But
Jay put me on the spot. I had to.
All right, Mr. Easterling, take us home. The pick number 10, the final pick of the Linkin Park draft.
I'm going to go with the In the End remix. Because this is, to me, they took a single that's emotional but kind of droll and made it like bouncy and groovy and way better than the original. Cutmaster Kurt remix has Motion Man on it. This song is way better than the original in my mind. And just the simple thing of going dun 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 dun, like that's so much.
Dun, 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 yeah, the stuttered piano note sticks in your head.
That is
all right.
So are we done here? We're just doing 10. We don't want.
Yeah, I think we're just gonna do 10. It's too cruel to keep going with Tim because he's just gonna be like throwing darts at the board behind him. I got Place for My Head featuring Zion. I don't even know what that sounds like. All right,
I was gonna try to throw a curveball on you guys if we kept going and pick one from Minutes to Midnight, but
oh god, it's terrible.
No, I mean, okay. Just so I can put it out there to anyone that's not listening to that record, listen to the song Given Up, because it has a legitimate breakdown, not just like a bring back. It has a literal dun 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 dun, like driven breakdown. It also has probably the most impressive like yelling vocal that Chester Bennington has ever done. Because he literally yells on one breath, one yell for bars, literal bars, and then changes the pitch and keeps going all on one breath. And then it's not, for the longest time, I thought it was like he came in and cut in and they mixed it. And then you can watch a live video and he does it. And then it ends and he's immediately right back into singing a chorus. So, honorable mention, Given Up, listen to that song, and if you don't like it, you're just incorrect.
I have never listened to that album, so I'm gonna have to dig into that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out too.
Okay, so final results here. Adam's playlist. We have Lying From You, Breaking the Habit, Faint, One Step Closer remix, By Myself, A Place for My Head, My December, we have Crawling, High Voltage, and In the End remix. Wow, that's a pretty wild fucking playlist. For Tim starts with You.
Boo.
So we go from With You, Somewhere I Belong, Paper Cut, Runaway, Don't Stay. Where's Tim's 6? Hit the floor. Then Pushing Me Away, From the Inside. Tim 9 is One Step Closer, and then Session.
Yep.
Yeah, Glowing Out in Session's a pretty good note.
I can't believe that your playlist is going to end on Session.
Well,
this is gonna be an interesting listen when I put all this together.
Are you making Spotify ones?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna make Spotify playlists for all three.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we have my Travis Schumacher here, which actually I'm pretty proud of. Easier to Run to Open. Then we go into Points of Authority. I have my third pick is Pushing Me Away remix. Nobody's Listening, Forgotten, Figure 09, Numb. Where's my 8? Points of Authority remix, With You remix, and In the End. Okay.
You're gonna end on a sad note.
Yeah.
Literally, you're gonna end on the dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, it is kind of depressing. This was much more difficult than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And I had I had everything written out with highlights and check marks and dots. Like, okay, pick this, and then if not, pick this. Then if not, pick this. So I lost a couple of really fucking.
When I was going through and picking my stuff, I had to keep reminding myself that you guys were probably gonna take the same songs. And so, like, as we were going and you weren't picking certain ones, I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, that's the same thing that happened with me. I was like,
but then, like, when you get one that I wanted, I was like, fuck, like.
This
was super fun, actually.
It was a fun way to look at the catalog without. I mean, I enjoy Tim and I both like going track by track because you get a sense of sequencing and all that sort of stuff. But this was a more varied conversation around the music and it's 3 different perceptions on the same song, taken out of sequence, which makes it really fun. Yeah, I will put these Spotify playlists together. I won't make them public until the episode goes live. But then for our listeners, please reach out at newbreedpodcast@gmail.com. Find us on our Facebook group. We are really big in the South and Midwest. It's kind of wild. Find us on Instagram. Find us on Twitter. Let us know who has the best playlist. I'm really, really curious. I can actually watch counts as well. So before we wrap it up, gentlemen, I'm going to start with you, Tim. Final thoughts. Linkin Park, first 3 albums.
Yeah, some of the best written new metal ever. I mean, I don't think there will ever be a better written album in the genre than Hybrid Theory. I just don't think. I think people have tried and they've failed miserably, and I don't think it'll happen. I mean, the record goes diamond. It just says it all right there.
Yeah, you're right. Adam.
I don't want to say that nobody will ever write something better, but I don't know that it'll happen in our lifetime. I think it's going to take a lot of like pop culture cycles to repeat themselves and fade away and come back for somebody to be able to put up something like this again and have it be, to have something in this sort of genre, to have this sort of footprint, will be something that it's the biggest task you take on. And I mean, not only that, but like for anybody that the fact of the matter is like Linkin Park was, being compared to other new metal bands then, but like now, if you were to put out something that was like on the same scale, you now have to compete with Linkin Park.
Yeah.
And, you almost feel like they're like the corny little brother who ended up whooping the older brother in basketball. Like, because they came in a little late, they aren't like the rest of the new metal groups like, Korn and Slipknot that are like, hey, we probably murdered. Like, it's like they are very straightforward and very aggressive and very emotional in a different sense of vulnerability. It's not like how Korn is almost like, I'm going to force you into this corner and tell you something uncomfortable. Linkin Park like lets you in the room and you're just airing out your feelings. And it's literally the most relatable. It's probably the most relatable new metal records.
Yeah.
You'll ever be able to write, because the whole point of other bands is to just say things in the most grotesque, heartbreaking, and vigorous ways. Whereas Linkin Park's like, we can do all of that, but we can chart top with it.
In order to your point, I think, well, to Tim's point, this album, whenever I think of Hybrid Theory, you know what I think of? Moby's Play. And I think of Moby's Play in the sense that 3/4 of those songs were released as either singles or licensed. And the other quarter that wasn't, you can say, yeah, I could still see that in a commercial or on the radio. Same thing with this. There were 4 singles, and the remaining songs all could have been singles themselves and all been licensed. And to your point about like seeing another Linkin Park, I think what would have to happen is you would need the lightning in a bottle of a kind of weird subgenre breaking into the mainstream and making all those things that weren't typically acceptable, which opens the lane for someone to pull it back to a more refined, mature interpretation, which is really, Korn and Linkin. Korn comes out with, I've murdered somebody, right? And then Slipknot comes out and it's like, we have murdered people together. And then Limp Bizkit comes out and they're kind of like the class clown. And yet you have Linkin Park, who takes all the things from their sounds and they pull it in a way that is easily digestible and acceptable to an even larger mass, which is what led it to go Diamond and all that. No, this was definitely a fun one. We're gonna have to do this one again. The next band, no, we gotta find somebody really obscure and
no. Well, let's do something very obscure. But I think if we did the first 3 Korn records, that would be super fucking fun.
Oh yeah.
There's it's just banger after banger on all 3 of them records.
I gotta be honest with you, the third one doesn't hold up as well for me.
What?
And I know we haven't dove into that.
What?
I would rather listen to Life is Peachy than Follow the Leader every day of the week, twice on Sunday.
What? Dead bodies everywhere? Come on.
I've got a hot take, so I'll leave it out. But
no, let's hear it. You're gonna say that Follow the Leader is the better record out of all of them.
Out of early Korn?
Yes.
The 2 best songs out of early Korn records are on the Untouchables.
Jesus Christ.
That is such a fucking hot take. My camera's melting. Jesus, that's a hot take. What would you say, Adam? One of which is?
One of them is a B-side, and it's Beat It Up Right.
Wow.
That song, and I like it for very weird reasons, because it has the weirdest harmony ever. John Davis is just like fucking losing his mind. It's all about him getting literally spanked. So that's hilarious. And then the riff is just heavy, driven, groovy the whole time. The other one is Here to Stay, which
that's a good track.
That song.
Yeah, that's a good track.
I don't think, even Linkin Park included, I don't think there's a better opening for an album than just like that is the hardest hitting opening of any album I've ever heard. Like, I don't think you can top it.
I got to go back and listen because I don't recall it.
And then my other hot take is that as of lately, my favorite Korn album is The Nothing.
We were talking about that last week.
Were.
That is a fucking great record.
When we were not recording, I was going to be like, hey, let's do a deep dive on The Nothing, because nobody would anticipate that. And it would also probably cause a lot of people to actually listen to a new Korn record.
Well, we can do that.
Yeah, we can do that. I'd be down for that because I'd never heard it. So it'd be interesting.
You still haven't listened to it?
No.
Dude.
I know. No,
I've been too busy listening to all this fucking international and obscure new metal. Oh my God, we found 6,000 bands that sound like Farmer 55, but whatever. All right. So once again, we want to thank Adam for joining us again. Always a great time. The irregular regular. On behalf of Tim, Adam, and myself, I want to thank everybody for listening. What did you think about this episode? Let us know what you think about the playlist. New Breed Podcast at gmail.com, newbreed_podcast on both Twitter and on Instagram. Our Facebook group is 328 members, give or take large. So hop into the Facebook and tell us what you think. Once again, we're going to thank everybody for tuning in. Until next time, this is the New Breed Podcast saying cheers.
See ya.